Is Hogwarts Legacy still worth playing in 2025? When Hogwarts Legacy launched in 2023, it took the gaming world by storm, earning over $1 billion and captivating millions of players with its magical world. But now, 2 years later, the initial excitement has faded and gaming trends have shifted. But the question still remains, does this beloved game still hold its charm in 2025, or has the magic worn off? I decided to revisit the game to find out, was my love for Hogwarts Legacy merely fueled by the thrill of a new Harry Potter adventure? Or does it truly offer a timeless gaming experience? We're about to find out. I first like to start by saying that Hogwarts Legacy is a great game that did what it set out to do, which was transform us into the wizarding world. You actually play your childhood dream to be a Hogwarts student, where you can grab a broom and fly around the grounds of the magical school and also roam in and around the enchanted castle. And after 2 years, it's clearly still that game, but it does have its flaws. When I first heard of a new open world Harry Potter game, I just expected it to never see the light of day because it felt too good to be true. It's not an exaggeration when I say that this was truly a dream come true for me. I personally rewatch the movies every chance I get and have read the books multiple times already. So spending time in this world is truly something special for me. I even catch myself just rebooting the game all over again just to get on a broom and fly around the castle and even go into the Forbidden Forest and fight enemies, because at the core of this game, that's the most timeless thing you can get in Hogwarts Legacy. Now, Hogwarts Legacy puts you in the shoes of a 5th year student at the iconic Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. You can fully personalize your character, choose your house, or let the sorting hat decide for you, and immerse yourself in the magical life you've always dreamt of. From attending iconic classes like Defense Against the Dark Arts, to exploring the vast castle and its surrounding grounds, and even crafting your own unique wand. The game delivers an experience many of us have never imagined would be brought to life on this scale. For Harry Potter fans, it feels like a dream come true, a chance to live in the wizarding world like never before. And honestly, even if this game had been a complete disaster, I still would have played it purely because of what it represented. But now, with the initial awe of the concept behind me, I've returned to the game with fresh eyes, without the novelty clouding my judgment, and I can finally dive deeper into the mechanics and design to see if this truly lives up to its promise, or if the cracks in its magic are hard to ignore. Now, the first time I played this game, I had the time of my life, and it was Game of the Year worthy without a doubt. Once I saw the feedback that it received and how many copies it sold, there was no questioning its value. But now, 2 years later, playing the game just felt different. It's amazing, but just different. Now let me explain. I first started noticing things I was simply ignoring because of the wow factor that came with an open world Harry Potter game. Like the very small amount of enemies in the game, because who cares about that? I'm inside freaking Hogwarts Castle walking through the Great Hall. And for a lot of us, that's all we really needed for this game to be. I personally know of many people who just bought this game to roam around the castle and grab a broom and fly around its surroundings without killing a single spider or goblin. But if we're gonna analyze this game in a 2-year retrospective style, then we have to be transparent with what the game objectively offers. And unfortunately, it does have underlying flaws that are seen after years of its initial release. Many people say Hogwarts Legacy is a great Harry Potter open world game, but a bad RPG. And I think that's honestly a fair assessment, because quite honestly, if you take away the game's ties to the wizarding world, what does it have left? It goes without saying that the world of Hogwarts Legacy is where the game excels in. You can tell the developers inside Avalanche Studios are hardcore Harry Potter fans and care deeply about the attention to detail for this game. It's the perfect blend of what we all have seen in the movies and what we all read in the books. You have the visuals of the movie that are impossible to not see, but you also have the bits and pieces of detail that you immediately notice if you've read the books. I still catch myself strolling around the castle looking for small details and even learning about things I've never noticed before, such as famous statues. The whole castle is pretty much fully explorable, from the prefect's bathroom to the Great Hall, and even the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets. Spoiler alert, no, you can't go inside. But for the most part, if it's in the movies or the book, it's in this game. I think this is Hogwarts Legacy's biggest strength. You can walk slowly through the castle and catch yourself in awe of everything around you. You can literally spend dozens of hours just roaming around the castle. Heck, I do it all the time. The best part of this game is that the developers were kind enough to give us the flute network, so we don't have to walk or run around the castle just to get to another section of the castle. Although I recommend walking through the castle because the game developers have put so much detail inside the castle that I feel like you're just missing a major part of this game if you just jump from flute network to flute network. Now, apart from her not shutting up every time you pass by her, and repeating the same damn lines, it was a genius integration to the game for fast travel. Quite honestly, fast traveling around the castle should be a crime because there are so many fun interactions inside the castle, from ghosts flying around, knights fighting, and so much more. But once you get outside the castle, that's where I catch myself thanking the developers for the Flute Network. If you are still in the Hogwarts grounds, the world feels so immersive and truly alive. But the further away from the castle you get, the less fun the game is. It just made no sense to me. It kind of felt like they just didn't care for those other parts of the map and just focused on the Hogwarts grounds. It was clear to me that the attention to detail changed once you went out of the castle grounds and out onto the highlands. Roaming through the Forbidden Forest felt truly scary at night, and roaming through Hogsmeade Village made me feel like a kid in a candy store, pun intended. But that feeling completely changed when I went out of the Hogwarts grounds and south of the map, into the middle of nowhere with my broom. It felt like they just made the map bigger than it needed to be. Another drawback that I noticed is that the NPCs are so oblivious to you and live in their own little bubble. They don't react to you shooting off spells at them, and even when you pass by, they just keep mentioning how you took down a troll, and it's so annoying because I want this world to be so much more than that. The fact I can just shoot off unforgivable curses at them and not a single one mentions that they just saw a Hogwarts student shooting an unforgivable curse is kind of weird. It's pretty clear that Avalanche had to cut a lot of things in this game, with one of the major ones being Quidditch, which they actually address in the beginning of the game.
Due to the unfortunate injury on the pitch in last spring's final, this year's Quidditch season has been cancelled.
And I fully now understand why, because after Hogwarts Legacy came out, a new Quidditch game was coming out separately, and no one would have bought it if they would have been able to play Quidditch in Hogwarts Legacy. So it makes complete sense why they had to axe Quidditch inside Hogwarts Legacy. There's also the fact that we can't gain or lose house points because of how good or bad decisions we make in this game, which is a huge letdown and a major missed opportunity to make this game feel so much more immersive. Another thing that I did notice is that during this playthrough, picking a different house doesn't really make a huge difference. For example, in this one, I actually played as a Ravenclaw student, and I didn't feel any different than when I played as a Slytherin or a Hufflepuff student. The only difference is that your robe changes, the obvious common room differences, and one house specific quest in the game. A lot of people say that Hogwarts Legacy is a great open world Harry Potter game, but a bad RPG game for the reasons that I just described. The open world aspect is fully immersive, but the RPG elements of the game are undeniably lacking, so there is plenty to improve for the next sequel. The real magic of this game is within the Hogwarts grounds, which consists of only 20% of the map. So although the map is massive, I found that the vast majority of the map just wasn't that fun to explore at all. But even after beating the game 100%, it was still worth coming back to the castle and the castle grounds and exploring it all over again and over again. Because you'll always bump into something that'll give you a slight smirk in your face or make your heart skip a beat with curiosity. All in all, from the Forbidden Forest, Hogsmeade Village, and Hogwarts Castle, the game developers clearly put a lot of attention in the top section of the map, and it shows. I just wish the attention was put into the other 80% of the map, or just shrink the map and give the whole map some attention. Now, before I dive into the story and the characters of this game, I'd like to say that Sebastian Sallow was by far the most interesting character of this whole game, and it doesn't even come close. His story with his uncle and sister had me on my toes the whole time till the very end, something that I truly did not feel with the main storyline. That's not to say that the main storyline wasn't good, but seeing Sebastian go down a dark path just to save his sick sister, there was just something there that I loved every single moment of it. The majority of the other characters were very surface level and you kind of knew what they were about, but with Sebastian, you saw him dealing with his own struggles and you kind of wanted to be there for him the whole time you were playing. The honest real reason we played this game was because you were a 5th year student in the most magical wizarding school in the whole world, Hogwarts. And it felt like the main missions were more of a duty to do just to progress in the game rather than it exciting me to go and find out what's next in our adventure. Now, I must say, after 2 years of playing this game and it now being more affordable than it ever was in the first launch, this game is a definite must buy for anyone looking for a great game to play. Now, just to give you guys some numbers, Hogwarts Legacy can take between 26.5 and 70 hours to complete depending on how much of the game you want to see. The length of the game also depends on obviously how much you explore and how many side quests you complete. But if you focus on the main objectives, the game can take around 26.5 hours to complete. Now, of course, factors that do affect the length is the difficulty setting. Of course, playing on a more difficult setting can make the game last a lot lot longer. Of course, the novelty of playing a Harry Potter game has worn off a bit, but I still catch myself booting up the game just to fly around and kill some spiders in the Forbidden Forest just to have fun. If you've never played this game and are wondering if this game is worth playing, I hope that by now you have an answer. And if you don't, make sure to check out my previous video about the recently confirmed sequel, Hogwarts Legacy 2.